Hey everyone, it's John here, and 2022 is in the wrapping up stages. But before this year phases out, we do have a few more videos that are in active production and they're pretty far along, but they need a smidge more time. So before they release, I wanted to give you something that's both quick and easy, but also something that I am passionate about, and I want to do a bit more of, which is showing you guys my collection. I've accumulated many games over the years and I've played many games, but there are very few franchises that I am more passionate about than the blue guy. Not that one, that one! Sonic was one of the very first video game franchises I really played and fell in love with. And over the years I have played, I'd say every Sonic game. I think I've at least dabbled in even the educational ones. And while I don't own every single possible release ever, I do have the vast majority of them. So let's go over this. Let's begin where it all started. The Big Bang. No, the Mega Drive, or Genesis. Genesis! This is Sonic 1, 2, and 3, the original Mega Drive trilogy, and Knuckles. I've got all of them boxed apart from Sonic and Knuckles, which is a loose cartridge. I love the PAL box for Sonic 3 because he's holding up 4 fingers, which implies that this is the 4th game. But you and I know that it's not. This is the 3rd one. The Mega Drive also had a few spin-offs. We have Sonic Spinball, Mean Bean Machine, Flicky, and Sonic 3D, which I guess you can argue if that's a spin-off. I've got half of these boxed and half of them not, so Sonic 3D and Mean Bean Machine are loose, and Sonic Spinball and Flicky are not. Actually, Flicky's a part of a much broader collection, the Classic Collection. This gives you Gunstar Heroes, Altered Beast, Flicky, and Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle. And what's awesome about this is cheaper than just buying Gunstar Heroes on its own. It's like an easy passage to one of the best games on the system. And Flicky's pretty good too. In fact, Flicky is technically the very first Sonic game. I believe this released in '84, and Sonic was '91, so that's like a 7-year head start. Flicky is the beginning of us all. There's also, I guess, the extended Mega Drive systems, the Sega CD and 32X. Sonic CD, which I originally played in the Gems collection, but of course had to get a physical version too. I've got the PAL one. I do have an American Sega CD, and one day I might get an American Sonic CD as well, because just for the soundtrack and authenticity, but I'm in no rush considering other releases have the American soundtrack. But the 32X, this thing, eluded me throughout my childhood, because I had all the Sonic compilations. I had Mega Collection Plus, Gems Collection, Sonic's Ultimate Mega Drive Collection. None of them have Chaotix. This game has never been re-released. It's stuck on the 32X. And I originally got a 32X as part of a good deal on eBay. Without any games. I bought Doom with it, which, by the way, I don't hate. I know Doom 32X has a bad reputation. I think it's okay for the time. But Knuckles Chaotix I actually got fairly recently, and the stigma against this game isn't great, but I think there's a lot to enjoy. It can be a really fun game. Anyway, moving on to the next system, which is the Master System. Now, in the States, you guys didn't get all these games on the Master System, but over here in Europe, we got Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic Chaos. These ones are all boxed, and I am technically missing a few on Master System. Brazil got Sonic Blast on the Master System, and there's also Flicky, Sonic Spinball, and Mean Bean Machine, 8-bit versions. I unfortunately don't even have those on Game Gear. I've played them via Mega Collection Plus and Gems Collection, but no authentic versions of those games in 8-bit. Speaking of Game Gear though, we've got a duplicated Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, although on Master System you get way more screen real estate, so I much prefer the Master System version. But also Sonic Triple Trouble I have here as well. Now, there actually are a lot of Game Gear games I don't have. Sonic Drift, Sonic Drift 2, Tails Adventure, Tails Sky Patrol, Labyrinth, Sonic Blast, Mean Bean Machine. I don't have any of those on either Master System or Game Gear. But I of course do have them via collections, so I'll say we can count that. Anyway, moving on to the Sega Saturn, the Beauty System, one of my favourite consoles of all time. Sonic R, Sonic Jam, and Sonic 3D Blast. This version of 3D Blast is quite different to the Mega Drive version. Different soundtrack, some different visuals, different special stages, an awesome credits theme. It's definitely worth playing if you're a fan of the original. I have a big soft spot for Sonic R, and Sonic Jam is one of my coziest comfort games. I love just walking around the hub and playing these properly Saturn-ported Sonic games. Really, really cool. This is the Neo Geo Pocket Color! I've got a couple of games for this system, not that many, but Sonic Pocket Adventure is a huge highlight. It's kind of like a remix of Sonic 2, but with the soundtrack of Sonic 3, and a few other elements. There's like a Sonic CD like pipe at one point, and a bunch of other bits from Sonic 3, like some boss battles. So it's definitely not a very original game, but it looks so good and plays so well on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. The Sega Dreamcast, my first home console. I of course have Adventure 1, Adventure 2, and Sonic Shuffle. This is an American Sonic Shuffle. You can play it quite easily on any region console with an action replay. And yeah, it's a weird game. Sonic catcalls a genie fairy thing. The PlayStation 2, we of course have Shadow the Hedgehog, Mega Collection Plus, Gems Collection, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, and Sega Superstars. I've got Sonic Heroes on GameCube over here, so I do have the entirety of this generation of Sonic. Also, standard Mega Collection as well is right here. I don't have the PS2 version of Sonic Unleashed, but I do have that on Wii, which also supports the classic controller, so I don't have much incentive to buy another version of that game. Game Boy Advance though, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Battle, and Sonic Pinball Party. I'm pretty sure these two aren't real. I bought them when I was a kid. I didn't know what to look for back then, but they work totally fine. The Advance series, I think, is really underlooked. Sonic Advance 1 in particular is pretty much Sonic 4, but it never really gets treated as Sonic 4, even though it continues the legacy with new zones, another character. They're good games. I really appreciate all of these. And who can forget Sonic N for the Nokia N-Gage? This is just Sonic Advance, but in a portrait screen ratio. You can make it landscape, but it just really crunches it, and not the ideal place to play Sonic Advance. Then there's the PSP with Sonic Rivals and Sonic Rivals 2. I was a big PSP kid, big PSP teenager, and I would read this magazine over and over with the Sonic Rivals page, and I was so excited for this. But eventually I did get a DS as well with Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. Now with these two, Rush Adventure and Colors, I don't have the box. I took these to university with me and I put everything in a big binder. I just don't know where the boxes are anymore. I am missing the DS Mario and Sonic games. I've played them, my sister had them in fact, but I don't own them myself. So there's some of my gaps here, I guess. Over on the Wii, we've got Sonic Unleashed, the SD version, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic Colors, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sega Superstars Tennis, Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics, Mario and Sonic at London, and Sonic 4 Episode 1. 360 was my other home for Sonic in this era. We've got digitally, we've got Sonic 2, Sonic 3, The Fighters, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, Sonic Generations digital too. Then physically, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform, Sega Superstars Tennis, Sonic Free Riders, and back digitally because I forgot, Sonic 4 Episode 1, Sonic 4 Episode 2, and Sonic CD. I also have Sonic Generations physically on PlayStation 3 and Steam as well. I forgot about Steam. I've got a lot of Sonic games on Steam. Moving on to the 3DS, I only have two physically, being Sonic Generations and Sonic Lost World, but the other ones are all digital. So we've got Sonic Boom Shadow Crystal, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, then Mario and Sonic at the London Olympics, and Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympics. When it comes to Sonic Boom on 3DS, they're not actually that bad. They're not great, but Fire and Ice in particular, pretty good game. Oh, and shout out to the 3D classics Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. This entire line of Sega 3D classics was so cool. Just so many great re-releases, all natively ported to 3DS, with a brilliant stereoscopic 3D effect. Don't overlook these ones. As for Wii U, physically also only two games, Sonic Lost World and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. This one had a cool asymmetrical multiplayer mode. That's why I own Transformed on 3 different systems. But in terms of digital, we've got Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, not a great game, but also Mario and Sonic at the Sochi Olympics and Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympics. Oh, no, wait, I've told lies. I don't own 3 Transformed, I own 5 Transforms. So there's the 360 one, there's the Wii U one, there's the Steam one, then there's also the 3DS Transformed and the Vita Transformed. Vita's got a Sonic game, yeah, Vita! Yeah, that is my Vita collection of Sonic. On Xbox One, physically, I've got Sonic Mania Plus and Sonic Forces, and digitally, Sonic Origins. On Switch, we've got the whole Sega Ages line of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, which have the drop dash in them. Also Sonic Mania, I got that digitally on Switch and physically on Xbox. And Team Sonic Racing, a game I don't think about much, but it was alright, it was pretty good. Oh, and there's also Mario and Sonic on the Switch, wasn't there? Yeah, there was. The Tokyo one. 2020, even though that didn't happen in 2020. Funny game. And then finally, on PlayStation 5, we've got Sonic Frontiers, a game that I have many feelings about, most of which are positive. And that is my Sonic the Hedgehog collection. The main things I want to fill in as time goes on is definitely the Game Gear games. There's a lot of spin-offs that I just don't own in any physical form. I also don't have the GameCube Sonic Adventure DX or Adventure 2 Battle. I have owned them in the past, but I have much more nostalgia for the Dreamcast games, so I'm in no rush to get them unless I see them for a good deal one day, especially because there's the HD versions out on Xbox as well. But that is my Sonic collection. Thank you all for watching, everybody, and there'll be a lot of videos coming relatively soon, hopefully in the next week or so. We've been working on a bunch of stuff, and I hope you're excited. My voice is going. I'm not doing that great. I'm dying, everybody. Thank you for watching.